Hi, I'm Elia Einhorn. Welcome to the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Here at the Talkhouse, we pair notable musicians for thoughtful, unmoderated conversations and release new talks each week. Regular listeners will have caught recent episodes like Pavement's Stephen Malcolmus with Holy Son's Emil Amos, or Tori Amos with Shirley Manson of Garbage. Check out these and all of our past episodes, and subscribe to get new ones on Stitcher or iTunes. Today's episode pairs Rachel Goswell of Slowdive with Japanese Breakfast's Michelle Zauner. Rachel Goswell is a founding member of UK shoegaze pioneer Slowdive. The band released 3 LPs, most notably 1993's Gorgeous Souvlaki. Following the release of their 1995 album Pygmalion, Goswell, along with fellow Slowdive co-founder Neil Halstead and drummer Ian McCutcheon, formed the country-tinged dream pop group Mojave 3, who would go on to release 5 albums. Goswell has also released music as a solo artist and is part of the supergroup Minor Victories, along with members of Mogwai and Editors. In 2014, Slowdive reformed to rapturous response from fans. And just last Tuesday, they announced that their first album in 22 years would be coming out May 5th. Japanese Breakfast is the nom de guerre of Michelle Zauner, who got her start as a member of the Philadelphia band Little Big League. Her 2016 LP Psychopomp is dream pop perfection. Songs of heartbreaking loss and hilariously fucked up love share space in the tracklist, and the sweetest melodies belie a heart on the edge. Japanese Breakfast's follow-up comes out at the end of July. Goswell and Zauner are fans of each other's music, but before this conversation, they had only met quickly at a show they played together in Brussels. With Slowdive and Japanese Breakfast gearing up to tour the US together, we thought it was the perfect time to pair these two for a Talkhouse Music Podcast episode. Their fantastic chat takes in the vicissitudes of Goswell's professional and personal relationship with Neil Halstead over the decades, Slowdive's relearning old material via fan videos on YouTube, the two nerding out on gear, and exciting new details about Slowdive and Japanese Breakfast's upcoming LPs. Check it out.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. When was the last time that you were in the US?
If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. My memory is so hazy. We were in, no, that was last year. Well, yeah, we were. We were. We went to LA last year to do Burgerama Festival.
Oh, wow.
And I got the norovirus. Not so good.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, yeah. So I didn't actually do the gig. I couldn't do the gig. We got in on the Friday night and everything was fine. We had dinner. We split off. We splintered off and had dinner in different places. And then I woke up at 9:30 in the morning and just puked. And then both ends for about 5 hours. It was horrific. It was really horrific. And we were supposed...
Oh no, all that way.
Yeah. That's literally the only time in my life that I've never done a show. The only time. And so they went and did the show without me. And then they had to get the evening flight to Mexico. And then we had reports back that the following morning that our sound engineer, Michael, started throwing up and everything on the flight to Mexico City.
Oh, God.
He had it on the plane there. They got to,
oh no!
They got to the airport and spent 4 hours going through customs with him just throwing up everywhere. At which point Neil.
Oh my God!
At which point Neil started throwing up. So then he got it.
Oh my
God! I can laugh about it now, but yeah. So basically, that was the show day in Mexico. We did manage to do the gig that night, and Neil just. Him and Michael, our sound engineer, were throwing up all day, and hats off to them. We did the gig. Neil had a bucket side stage. I've known him for 38 years. I've never seen him look so ill in my life. I was like, I don't know how he did it. Yeah, that was the last kind of American trip and first time in Mexico.
Sounds great. What is it like to be in a band with someone you've known for over 30 years? How do you not hate each other? Or do you and just get over it?
I think, you know, Neil and I we've got a lot of history, obviously. We went out with each other, but I mean, that was over 20 years ago. And he was actually the first boyfriend I lived with. So I mean, I left home at 18. I moved into a house with Neil, but it's okay. I think we know each other so well now, and we don't hate each other. There were times where we did really hate each other many years ago, but I think, I don't know, it's okay. It's quite comfortable. It's quite a comfortable friendship, really. And you know, we did 2 bands together. We did Mojave 3 after that for 5 records and 10 years after Slowdive. So it couldn't have been that bad for us to continue working with each other. But, you know, all the guys in the band, the rest of them I've known not quite that long, but since we were 16, 17. So it's comfortable, you know. It's like,
what is the secret behind that? I feel like I've like only known my bandmates for like a year. I already despise them.
get rid of them. No.
You just spend so much time together that it's just like,
well, you do, but you kind of, I mean, everybody's really different. We've all got quite different personalities, and it's like, it's family, isn't it? It's like family, and you. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I think it's worse than family because you have to spend even more time together.
Yeah.
Because you're working together and you're traveling together and you're sleeping in the same room. And like for us, we're still like sharing beds. And so it's just awful.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do the sharing beds thing. But yeah, no, it's difficult.
Yeah. You've graduated that phase.
Well, I kind of always managed, being the only female in the band, I always managed to not have to do that. I think we used to like share rooms occasionally when we were much younger, but now I'm just like, just give me my own room, just I want my space. And I am very much, you know, I definitely, well, it's like an unwritten rule anyway with me. It's like, you know, I like my space. I think when we regrouped in 2014, and we did a lot of festivals, and the guys are going, oh, you know, well, we could just share rooms if we need to. Obviously, Rachel gets her own room. I'm like, obviously, I get my own room. Of course I do. Of course I do. I'm not sharing with any of you. But then, you know, by and large, when you're doing festival shows, you get hotels included. So they all, you know, had this luxury of having their own rooms, and they were all like, oh, it's really great. Really like having the space. Don't want to share. We're all like, yeah, you know, we can just spend, you know, time on travelling and la-di-la. But when it comes to the hotels, everyone's like, yeah, actually it's really nice having the space. And
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that's an age thing as well. No, it probably isn't an age thing, to be fair. I think when you're a lot younger, you're just kind of willing to do whatever. I'm like talking about when you're really, you know, when you're like 19, 20 and you're starting out. And I mean, obviously if we really had to do that, I'm sure we would, but
I met you briefly in Brussels when we played together in Botanique when you were with Minor Victories. How different is that experience playing with a new band versus with people you've known for a very long time? How did that connection with Stuart happen?
Well, yeah, I met Stuart in 2014 when we ended up doing a lot of the same festivals as Mogwai. I think we probably had a bit of banter on Twitter prior to meeting him, as you do. And Stuart, I mean, he fucking loves Twitter. He's never off it. He talks about me and his girlfriend being like, you know, social media whores, but like, you're always on social media. I'm like, I love Instagram. That's what I really love. I'm like, I said, you're always on Twitter. If you're not replying to emails, I'm like, where's Stuart today? Just look on Twitter and there's like about 100 tweets a day from him. I'm like, you can tweet all day, but you can't reply to your emails. But we met in Portugal at Primavera, and I think I gave them a bottle of whiskey from my rider when we were leaving, and they were like, oh, they're like that, and they were like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, because Neil had whiskey on the rider, and literally nobody was drinking it. It's just a complete waste of a rider, really. So we swapped it for 2 bottles of gin, which became the drink of choice. But anyway, I like Stuart. I got on well with him. And Justin Lockie sent me some demos and asked if I wanted to do some writing with him. So we started doing that, and then after a few months we were like, need somebody else, and I just immediately thought about Stuart because he's such a fucking great guitar player, and I thought it would be an interesting dynamic, and I didn't actually think he'd say yes. Fool. He said yes, and obviously then we ended up doing the record, and then the first we did all that record remotely, so the first time we were all together in a room was in around this time last year, which is really weird. This time last year I went up to Scotland to rehearse with them, and that was the first time. That was only the second time I'd met James, who plays bass, because I'd only met him in December when we went to the Piaz offices to discuss a record deal with them. That's the first time I met him. Justin was like, my brother plays bass. I'm like, all right then, it's fine. And, did some of the writing. So it was really weird. That first rehearsal was very, very weird. I just sat there. I remember feeling really, really nervous. And I was sick as well. I had the whole, and I lost my voice after about 5 hours.
Oh, God.
I'd had a really bad cold. My son is like a constant stream of bugs. So whenever I'm home, I'm constantly wiping his nose and just praying I don't get sick. So it's always a juggling act. And I remember just looking around the room, just going, fuck, I really don't know anyone in this room very well. And we're about to release a record and go on tour. Oh my God. Yeah. So it was a little bit daunting, but to say the least, I was really out of my comfort zone with it initially, I think. However, I think it's one of the best things I've done because I think it's good. It's good to push yourself and do things.
The show was amazing. I loved it.
Thank you.
I felt so lucky because it was a happy accident because they just lopped us onto. We didn't know, I think, until like a week before or something that we got to combine shows, and I was so surprised because I was just hawking my own merch outside, and Stuart came out and started. He was like, do you want to trade band shirts? And I was like, excuse me?
He totally loves you. He's like, oh, you're amazing.
Yeah, that was like unreal. And then, there were a bunch of fans that came over and they're like, is Rachel coming out? And I was like, why would Rachel come out? And then there you were.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't take the time to do that because it's exhausting to be on, the road all the time and then play a show and then get, to take the time to still speak to your fans is really amazing. I was really surprised that you came out, not because I didn't expect you because of your person, just I felt like it was just surprising to see you out there. It was amazing.
Yeah. I tend to, most of the time I do go out. I like meeting people, and there will always be people that come into gigs that I know that I need to come out and see. And I tend to be the last one out to see people. I tend to be like, I just need a few minutes and a glass of wine.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
just to relax. And the rest of them are always like kind of straight out there. That was the Minor Victories way. Like, do the gig, right? Come on, Goswell, let's get out there. I'm like, oh. Especially Mr. Lockie, but I like going out. I like talking to people. I like doing it. It's interesting meeting people, and and people come to see you, and it's kind of, it's obviously the people that come to see you that keep your band going effectively, don't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like, all those years to be able to still do that. I mean, I do it every time and I really enjoy it, but I wondered if I did it for a couple more, if I'd be a diva and become tired of it.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I like to make the effort, but I'm kind of really worried about retaining my voice. If I talk too much, and I have a tendency to talk too much by nature. Although Neil I've been on email going, I might have to curb the interviews on the American run. Neil's going, Rachel, that's great, just shut up. Just go. And he was replying, going, it's good to just say you could extend that and just not even talk at all, ever. On the bus, because we're on a sleeper bus. I'm like, yeah. That's where this friendship goes. So long. Yeah. It's like, you could just say nothing all day. We won't mind. I'm like, yeah, fine.
Impossible.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
What was the process like for this new record?
It took us a while. It took a while for it to come together because we recorded. We did like a few weekends in 2015 and 2016. Some of that was just jamming in a rehearsal room and then recording stuff, and then there would just be like snippets of ideas, or Neil would come in with like basic ideas, you know, like sort of melody and some lyrics. I think some lyrics. And he would take it away. So we'd just record stuff. He would take stuff back to, he's got a studio down in Cornwall where he lives, and just fuck around with the structures and change things around and kind of present them back to us. And it was quite a gradual process, and everybody's got kids. So, and we all live in different parts of the country. We're all in the south, but we're kind of spread out quite a lot. And so it was logistically, the most difficult thing was finding the time where we could all physically be together and do stuff. But there was a couple of runs last year where there were like a couple of 2-week blocks in the studio to do the record.
Is the songwriting and recording process pretty similar to what it was like before for the other records?
I think each record's been different. I think, to be fair, my memory is quite hazy about a lot of it when I was younger. Probably on another planet a lot of the time when I was younger, to be honest, which is partially why I can't remember. The first record was recorded, I think we did it in the space of like 6 weeks in the studio. We lied to creation and told them we had an album's worth of material, and we literally had nothing. So then we had the naivety of 19-year-olds. Oh, yeah, got it, it's fine. Signed a 3-album deal. And so then we were in a studio and blindly panicked. And somehow, just for a day, came out of that. I mean, you know, all of those songs, trying to remember what's on that record, I think all of those pretty much were all written by Neil anyway. And they would have been rehearsed in the studio and recorded. And Souflaki was I think Souflaki's very well documented through, you know, Pitchfork, that documentary and stuff. So
yeah, I love that documentary.
Yeah, it's kind of, I had to hide behind a cushion when I watched it. I was like, I'm sure I can bet, because none of us knew what, we were all interviewed separately, so none of us knew what any of us had said. So it's kind of, it was quite weird. No, you know, I was a bit like, I was probably quite guarded when I was doing that. I was like, how much am I going to say? But I think it turned out okay, but it is very weird watching that back and thinking back to that time, because it wasn't a happy time, to be fair. Mm-hmm. It was pretty fucked up. So it's kind of weird. And then Pygmalion was very different, because that was mainly, I was in the studio the whole time with Neil when that was being recorded, and the band had kind of splintered quite a lot by that point. Christian and Nick were in and out a little bit. Simon wasn't in the band by then, he'd left because he thought he was being replaced by a drum machine, which he wasn't. We just got a drummer in, Ian, who ended up in Mojave. So I think it's one, I don't know, different again, you know, 20 odd years have passed. Everybody, pretty much everybody in the band has musically done other things, and I think everybody has grown over the years, you know, personally and professionally. Simon does a lot of avant-garde stuff, and, you know, he's like, have you heard of this, I don't know if you'll know it, you know, like the BBC in this country, there's it's like a nature programme, Spring Watch. So, you know, it's all about nature and the countryside and all the animals and birds and insects. And Simon has been interviewed on Spring Watch, which we were like, God, Simon, you're on Spring Watch. That's amazing.
For what?
Because he goes out where he lives and sort of around Cambridge and the Fens. He goes out and he records. He just records nature, and then he
oh, wow.
He does a lot of I don't even know how you describe it.
Like field recording.
Yeah, field recordings. That's exactly what he does. Yeah, that's what he does. So when we regrouped in 2014, I remember we were in France at a festival in Nîmes, and we were walking around. We were walking around this building, And we stopped somewhere, and there were just loads of birds going nuts. And he suddenly whipped his phone out, was recording it. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just recording it for a future, song or whatever. So
wow,
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different things, and Simon brought different things to the new record as well.
Oh wow! So there's some of those field recordings on the new record.
Well, I'm not sure there's field recordings on it.
Well, we hear a lot of squawking birds on this new album.
There's no nature on there. No. But he's done interesting things in only the way that Simon could do. So there are different elements. So I think people have brought different things maybe to this record. I mean, there's recognisable Slowdive bits, but there are different bits there. What can I say? I'm excited for it to come out anyway.
I am too. The single sounds amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still learning the words to that one.
How was it relearning material? I guess in 2014 you kind of kickstarted like relearning material. Were there any songs that you were really looking forward to playing or not looking forward to playing?
I don't know. I always really enjoy doing Souvlaki Space Station. I don't do much on that, to be fair, just sing. But I enjoy watching Christian play with his guitar. I like doing my bit, and then I like standing back at my amp, and then I just watch him because I just think I just love watching Christian play. I think he's incredible. I mean, we did refer to YouTube quite a lot to remember things, and there was a guy on YouTube that's done an excellent tutorial on Machine Gun, which Christian was like, I've just been watching this bloke.
That's amazing.
Nailed it. So there was a little
to
bit
think
of that.
Yeah. I hope that person listens to this, because I feel like if you're a huge fan of a band and the band has to watch you dissect their song, your life is complete. You can just you're finished.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he was. I think he got it all right. It was all sort of correct, and we kind of used that. Or the guys use that as a guideline for the guitars and Machine Gun, particularly.
That's amazing.
Because weren't quite sure about, and I could never remember guitar tunings because most of the guitar tunings aren't normal. So, and I don't play guitar too much actually, but I don't know, certainly don't do any of the recording. I just do the live stuff, just add a little bit where it's needed. But I'm terrible at remembering stuff like that.
What is your rig like right now?
Small. Mine's really small. I don't need much. I just use a distortion pedal and a delay pedal.
Which distortion pedal do you use?
I use a Sonic Titan by Dan. And I think it's possibly I don't know how many of those were made, but yeah, I don't think you can get it anymore. I like it, and I've got a
classic.
I've got a fuzz pedal which I occasionally whack on when Neil's not looking and he can't do anything about it, which is called a sodomizer, which is quite. You're about 30 foot away from me. That's going on. You can't do anything. And we all use New Neighbour. I don't know how you pronounce it. New Neighbour. NEUNABER, New Neighbour wet reverb pedals. But
cool.
Neil and Christian have got shitloads of pedals. They've got loads.
I can't wait to peek at everybody's.
Well, yeah, I mean,
stuff.
you'll be able to actually have a very good look at what they use. Mine is very unimpressive, but they have loads of stuff. And we'll be playing a little bit of keyboards. So we used a Juno on the record, so I'm going to be doing some keyboards.
I love that.
As well. Not a lot.
There's a lot of Juno on my new record as well. It's so fun.
Yeah, well, we've just bought our second one because we bought one. Well, we borrowed...
Which Juno? 10. There's like the 60 and the 106 or something. That's like the big ones.
That's the one. The 106. Oh, just my brain. Yeah, it's a 106. And we borrowed one for recording from editors because we share management and they've just got ridiculous amounts of equipment. So we borrowed theirs. And so we've been rehearsing for a month now. And but there aren't that many available to to buy
Yeah.
over here. That's, they were only about 8, I think, on we looked on Gumtree, which is, I suppose, must be like Craigslist, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
whoa.
and we were a bit like, fuck, we need new one. And then we were like, should we get a brand new keyboard that's not a Juno but that has the sound, because it will be reliable for touring? So looked at a few different options, and then Neil's like, no, we need to get a 106. We've got just nothing compares to it and all this sort of stuff. So we found another one, and I'm touching wood heavily right now. It seems to be fine, but we've got a little backup, one of the Juno, the 6 you can plug into the MIDI keyboard as a backup, just in case we have a disaster on the road. Hopefully we won't, but yeah, it's been a bit of a learning curve, it's weird, because when Neil and I started a band at school, I played keyboards. That's how it started. That's how I started doing it. Yeah, and then it got ditched at some point quite early on when I got, a guitar. I played guitar from a young age as well, but yeah.
That's funny. I had a similar experience with the Juno, because we have a new record coming out in July, and there's a lot of Juno on that record, and it also was really fucking noisy. But at the end of the song, one of the songs you can hear it, and it sounds a lot like it sounds like an ocean.
Yes.
So we just kept it, and then we put an extra ocean sample on top of it to have the songs transition. It was like one of those happy accidents of just like, it's not supposed to be doing that, but I kind of like it.
It's great when that happens, though, isn't it? When you're recording and then stuff happens like that, you say, like, happy accidents, and you get like little unexpected things come up that just end up sounding fucking amazing, and you're like,
Totally.
Yeah, love that.
Do you feel like over these years of do you have like a skill set that you bring into a record, like after many years of songwriting and recording? Like,
I personally, for me, I go through blocks where I can write and blocks where just nothing happens, and I can't ever explain it. If it's either there or it isn't. And I think, if you were asking Neil the question, I'm sure he'd have a much better answer than I would to the way he writes. But for me personally, I honestly, I just wing it. I think I wing it a lot. I just wing it. I just wing it.
Yeah.
I just wing it. I mean, with the Slowdive record, I haven't done any writing on it. There's 2 songs which are co-writes for the whole band. There's 8 songs on the record. 6 of them are Neil's. 2 of them are all of us. With the Minor Victory stuff, I did a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And that's a very different band, because I'm the singer in that band. So Slowdive and Minor Victories are 2 completely different, things in that respect. So it's entirely different, but I honestly think I just wing it. And I might go through months where, I mean, like some of the Minor Victory stuff, like Folk Art, I had that music for 6 months before I wrote any words to it, and the vocal melody. Whoa. It just took me ages, and then at some point it became the right time and it flowed. So yeah, I can never explain it. I'm not one of these people that will sit. I mean, I know musicians that will kind of sit and try and write every day, and that's great. And if you can, and I kind of look at them and think, oh my God, I really admire the fact that you have that level of, I don't know, desire or creativity in you that you can do that all the time. I just can't do that.
Yeah. I
just go through peaks and troughs with it.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay though. Because
totally. I mean, clearly it's working out for you.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it works. Yeah, but I wing it. Yeah, I wing it. Don't we all, to some extent, probably? I mean, what about you? What about your writing process?
I actually am one of those people that like to just like get thrown into a room and force myself to do it.
Okay.
Which I guess is a form of winging it. This project actually started because I played this sick game with myself where I wanted to write and record a song every day for the month of June. So I have like 30 really shitty songs. And actually it was a really great exercise for me, because probably half of the last record and half of this record are just stealing from those snippets of just, it's kind of just like, it helped me create just a lot of raw material.
Yeah.
And then to go back and, the structure is basically there and just like adding to it and like editing it basically.
Yeah.
It helps me a lot because it's like the beginning steps of approaching this like creative expanse is like more limited. So you can like take what's already there and develop it. So that that was like something that happened, I think 3 years ago, and now just like the way that I write music. But it's cool.
I think that's probably a really good way to do it. I should probably try that sometime.
I think that I should probably just continue to wing it because that's
it works. But I think that is also a really good way of doing. That's a really good way of doing it because obviously you will get stuff out of there that's fucking great. You know, maybe not every day, but maybe you will.
I surprisingly like only despise like 5 out of 30 songs. I think are like mortifying, but
okay, well that's good.
But 25 is pretty good, right? Like,
I think that's really, really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't release them as is, like, but to go back and have like raw material like that was like really helpful for me.
And I think that way you're constantly growing as a writer. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'd like to do it again. I definitely mentally it was pretty strenuous because like I think I was working 3 jobs at the time too, and I was just carving out weird like 5-minute sessions, and some really weird stuff comes out of that.
It's all good experience.
What have you been listening to lately?
That's a really good question. I'm like, fuck, what have I been listening to lately? Mainly the new Slowdive record, to learn the words, to be perfectly honest.
I actually have pretty much only been listening to my own record like
that's what happens,
the past month.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You get totally like suckered into it, and you know, at the moment, I'm like every day I'm putting it on and going, do you know the words? And I think, is Neil going to know the words? We're doing pre-production rehearsals on Saturday and Sunday. I'm like, has Neil going to have learnt them? Probably not. And you know, that's my thing. I love your record.
Thank you.
Last record. Great.
That's that's the only reason I asked that. I was hoping that you said
yeah. You really like that. Yeah, it's all right.
Well, I can't wait to tour with you. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for having my little band along for the ride.
We are very excited to have you with us. We will have a laugh. It will be fun.
I can't wait.
I'm Elia Einhorn, and you've been listening to Rachel Goswell and Michelle Zauner on the Talkhouse Music Podcast. Subscribe on Stitcher or iTunes for upcoming talks. If you like the Talkhouse Music Podcast, rate us on iTunes so others can discover us. Today's episode was recorded by Mark Yoshizumi and Rachel Goswell, and mixed by Mark Yoshizumi. Till next time.
With that kind of illness, I feel like you can't really project without having fear of like projecting elsewhere. Yeah.